So some people may be saying, but how do I know what I want to do? How do I know what I want to specialize? When you think back when you were first starting, how did you determine where you wanted to go? And so we often hear about people talking about, should I specialize versus being a generalist? And there are benefits of obviously being a specialist, because the referral is, this is a person who is really good at treating backs, or this is a person who's really good at dealing with athletes. That is a benefit because you'll attract that clientele. Not to say that other people won't book in, but you'll just naturally start attracting that clientele. And you're also doing the work that you're interested in.
I think a lot of people get scared about narrowing down the audience, right? So this isn't a question of who would benefit from my services. Well, the answer is everybody, because everybody, can use health and wellness in some way. But that's very different to who should be my customer, right? Who should be my client? Who should be my patient? In an instance where it actually is about narrowing down, because if you're trying to market to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, especially in today's world. And for that, you do need to determine specifically who your target market is. How do we build trust with them? What outcomes are they looking for? What language do they speak? All of those things help you to really identify and speak to your target market, which is key for client acquisition or patient acquisition.
So some people may be saying, but how do I know what I want to do? How do I know what I want to specialize? When you think back when you were first starting, how did you determine where you wanted to go? Because there's going to be a lot of people out there that they just say, I don't know what I want to specialize in. I just want to be a generalist.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm thinking back now. There's probably 2 or 3 things that really stand out to me in that regard. I mean, some people go to the angle of what are you passionate about, right? What do you enjoy? And that's always great because you're going to have additional energy and motivation, to really drive in that space. One good example from my perspective, thinking, and again, I work across a number of fields, but if I think about my business and in the world of hypnotherapy is a really good example. So we've had a number of client success stories with men who have had sexual health issues. They may have had struggled for years in that space, and we've helped them get to a place of where they're extremely happy. And we've also had a lot of success in the spaces of hypnobirthing, right? And helping women have wonderful, natural, relaxed, and pain-free births. Now, you help a guy, I'm just speaking very frankly here, you help a guy who struggled for many years with sexual health and, really kind of reestablish that identity and happiness in that regard. And he will probably tell nobody. Maybe he might tell his best friend. It's just the nature of the way we work around a sensitive issue and so on and so forth. You help a woman have an incredible birthing experience, she will tell everybody. Of course, we'll help either type of client coming through the door, but trying to build a practice in the sexual health space is an uphill battle versus something like hypnobirthing where, the organic growth, the word of mouth is going to spread so much faster and so much more naturally. So the second part is, where are the ways where you're skating downhill versus fighting uphill? And I think the third is what does the market demand? When you look out there, what are the big hitters and what are the niches and where do you think that there may be green space for you to play and grow?
You've mentioned it. I know you mentioned it once and maybe a couple times, and the word is trust. And the trust doesn't just start. It's not just a retention piece. It is even part of that acquisition piece that we're talking about. And so if we talked about acquisition, everyone knows that they probably need a presence. They need some sort of website or some local SEO. It's unrealistic, the old forms of getting the word out. People aren't going to go put up billboards or take out magazine ads. And so when you're talking about starting that journey, it does start with that acquisition piece, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. One of the things that comes to mind there when you were talking about the different aspects is consistency also builds trust. Everything from, can I really understand what this person does, to who they are, to what the service is that messaging consistent all the way across? So I have different aspects of my business that I actually choose to market and approach differently, mainly because if I try and do it all in one place, it will just create inconsistency. Whether that's technical stuff with SEO and Instagram algorithms, or whether it's through to when I'm speaking to clients, they're like, wait, hold on, I thought you did this, but actually this is saying you're doing this. The trust element is absolutely key, especially in the health and wellness space. It's how we buy our services. And also, that is built through so many factors, including the consistency piece.
Yeah, and when you think about, like, again, I've talked to many practitioners over the years, and what happens, I mean, someone comes in and you may give them some instruction if you want to come and see me again, or you may hope that they book another appointment. I can tell you confidently, people are expecting you to direct their level of care. And not the level of care that it's prescribed. I'm not talking about a workshop that you've done and it said, these are the 10 steps that you need to do to retain clients. It should be individual and what you honestly think that person needs. And I think they're looking for some sort of guidance. And so many times they're just left to go out to the reception, and you might not have reception. You might be doing it yourself. And the person is walking out the door thinking, what do I do next? Because I didn't get any clear instruction.
Yes, yeah, you hit a really critical point there, because I think for many people, they hold that space at the end, in terms of hoping somebody will come back or maybe talking to them about the next session. They hold it in the idea of sales. And then, for many people, they think sales is a dirty word. And the truth is when if we're continuing on that journey of trust and you're really focusing on what is best for the client, then you're absolutely right. They are looking to us as practitioners to guide them on that journey. And for some people, it may be that, they are graduated, they are done with your services. You should know when that time is right. On the flip side, if it absolutely is in their best interest to continue receiving your service, you should be advising them in their best interest.
One thing that you didn't quite mention there, and I thought you were going to mention, is the referral and or to refer out. So, and people think, I don't want to lose this person because I'm just starting out. You're not losing a client. You're gaining a lot of trust equity, and that is going to come back in referrals tenfold.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. It can be from a skill set and a technical perspective. Sometimes it's a personality alignment, right? Especially in the worlds of therapy, as an example, right? My perspective is trust can be built in so many different ways, but it also includes in the rapport that you build. And sometimes maybe the way that you interact or the language that you speak, it just isn't as aligned, in which instance finding somebody else who's better aligned in that space is truly a trust builder. So you're absolutely right. Referring out from a technical perspective, or just from, hey, we're not the right fit, but actually I know somebody who would be a great fit for you. Truly, truly fantastic trust builder.
Kelsey says, advice growing a niche especially. I am passionate and have great retention, but I am not well known.
The fact that Kelsey is passionate and has great retention is such a wonderful start, right? That's really, really telling. And if you've got great retention and if you've got kind of a solid client base, are you asking them, whether it's for referrals or reviews or testimonials? There's a slight difference between a review and a testimonial. A review might be on your Google business page. A testimonial is something that you can put directly on your website or in your own marketing, right? It could be even in your own newsletter that you send out to clients. The best kind of testimonial is actually a video testimonial, so if you've got really happy clients, have them speak to that. And all of those things, again, without getting too deep into this, actually start to feed things like SEO and AIO as well, right? So there's a technical trust building that's happening in the background on the internet. And then there's just a direct trust building through your website, through these testimonials, through these, videos, or can just be written. But either way, all of those things continue to build your presence in your niche and in your space.
Yeah, I think one thing, Farhan, I think you would probably agree, is that you'd be surprised that people are more than willing to go out of their way to help you because of what you've done for them. You're going to be surprised, Kelsey, on how easy it is and how people are more than willing to help you because of the care and the services that you provided for them.